The makers of Metal Slug, from the makers of King of Fighters, from the makers of Alpha Mission. Okay, you probably don't know what that is. Samurai Showdown comes the legend of the Crystalis. So, Crystalis, you guys ready for a look at a classic NES title? Let's get going. Okay, Crystalis was like Legend of Zelda, but made by SNK. And SNK back in the day, they had their own system and everything, and it was really sweet but expensive, but not many people on the Neo Geo could have played this game because it used a backup battery and it was longer than something you could play in just an hour. SNK was great at the arcade title, not so great at the home title. But then they did this, and this was interesting. Now, the story starts out with Hero Ex Machina. Yes, you awake out of a machine, out after years of an apocalypse where everything mutated, all these new creatures come out, and so now you are the hero of legend, as there's always a legend prophecy or some hero's gonna come at some point out of a generation from lowly responses and everything. It's a story. It's a trivial story, guys. This is not the standard story. You know, this is not by any means something that you're going to be like, oh, I've never heard this before. Story in a nutshell, Hero Ex Machina, post-apocalyptic land, small towns, empire, rebels, defeat emperor, go on to final boss. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. There's no twists and turns here that'll be like surprising, especially when you find out who the Emperor is. It's just, you already suspected this, or you've seen this in other stories enough time to figure it out. So let's move on to gameplay, okay? Actually, no. Let's back up a second. There's a magic system in this. Here's one thing I want to figure out, and I would love to hear it from you guys in the comments below. Magic, okay? Magic is in this world, but, and I'm not going to give you spoilers, but at the end of the game, when they explain who you are, it gives no logical reason for magic usage by you or to exist in this world, given the fact that there's just magic. We take magic for granted. Everything else is evolved, but you've been in a stasis pod and preserved. And your former state is not something where magic necessarily should have been part of who you were as a person. In fact, you don't even get magic until after you've completed a few portions of the game. So my question is how are you able to use magic if nothing in the game, in the story, actually gives you magic? No background in it, no experience in it. So I'm curious. I kind of want to hear your thoughts on it, especially if you played it below. But yeah, magic. Gameplay. So in the gameplay, it is like Zelda. You walk around stabbing everything with your sword. Unlike Zelda, though, Crystalis has the bonus where you can throw your sword. You can do the aura blast, like, Master Sword thing that Link does. You can do that at any time, so long as you charge up your sword. And I'm liking this better, guys. I'm liking this better because now that I can charge up my sword, it gives me more tact to it. I don't always just, stab, and if I miss the guy in front of me, all of a sudden my sword's flying off and it hits something and awakens it that I don't want awakened. But the benefit of this is that, yes, you can charge up your sword, and you can get items that increase the effectiveness and the power of your sword. And that is awesome! Until you get to the level 3 bracelets for the power of your sword, and in which case they're actually useless, and when they're useless, you just sit there like, why do I have this? So yes, level 3 allows you to do some type of blast, takes a little bit of your mana, and that's how it works, right? Only one of these is useful. 4 swords total, 5 if you include the Crystalis, and the 4th sword, which is the Thunder Sword, gives you a thunderstorm. And that's useful because there's one enemy that you can't actually tag with your sword in any way, shape, or form unless you're using the Thunderstorm 3rd level of the Thunder Sword. That's it. So it's forced usefulness rather than actually something that I would have loved to see and loved to use more often throughout the game. So sad, but whatever. Magic, and this is something about the game that I'm going to complain about as well. If you have a magic system, make sure it is useful. 2 spells I used in battle, 3 spells grand total. Here they are, in order of usefulness. Number 1, Refresh. Refresh would fill your life bar. That's what it did, at the cost of mana. Number 2, Recover. If you're poisoned, paralyzed, turned to stone, recover and you're fine. Number 3, Teleport. Why teleport? Because I don't want to keep having to carry warp boots in order to get back to the last town that I was in because I forgot something or just need to jump around place to place just to continue the game. So, the rest of the magic is just situational. And they do things like, you get a paralyzed spell, which is useless, except that you use the paralyzed spell to discover which person it is that actually is going to teach you the change spell, which is also a transgender spell. And after you're taught the change spell, you really never use paralyzed ever again. Why, guys? Why? You could have done so much better with this, but you decided, nope, we just got this stuff, so yeah, there you go. Have fun with it, kids. Oh my gosh. Even the flight spell, which the flight spell was fun, it allowed me to speed through some areas, but for the most part, you can play through the game without that spell. Why would you have 3 useful, I'm saying, for multi-purpose spells versus the remainder of the spells are just kind of there? Telepathy is also good, though, because if you get off track on a quest or whatever, telepathy will give you access to hints, which is good. But even then, for the most part, you don't need telepathy. It's not something that really would ever be played with. So, Suckyage! I will say this about the game. Crystalis is a fun game. It's not a great game. It's not one that enraptures you and you're just like, ah. So there is a little bit of nostalgia goggles on it as far as the fun I had, but still, I would say it actually is still playable by today's standards. I would love to see a remake of this. This is one of those ones that I think if SNK ever remade it, they could totally do something awesome with this. At least get the character to appear in a King of Fighters game or something. Even in the backgrounds, guys. Crystalis dude with the sword. Another disappointment I have is you don't get the Crystalis until the very end. The Crystalis is only useful on one enemy, and that's the last boss. And the last boss is easier than the Emperor when you fight the Emperor. Why is the last boss easier than the Emperor? Why couldn't you guys actually give me a challenge? I expect fighting Zeramis in Final Fantasy. Last boss, harder. Took us hours to beat him. But we did. Last boss, Crystalis. Took me minutes to beat him. So, right game for you. It's not a bad game. It's not a great game. Is it a fun game? Yes, I would say it's a fun game. You know, you should be able to get on the App Store, stuff like that for Nintendo. So, I would say, hey, check this one out. It is definitely a fun game. Worthwhile. Morals. And before I get into the morals, I would like to say this. Guys, we know Tony the Tiger. He's been around for a while, but Tony won't last so long. And the less known population of man-tigers exists outside the village of Leaf. So please, have a heart. Please help us increase the man-tiger population before it's too late. There are gamers out there everywhere who would rather kill them for the coins and experience. But I know with your help, we can increase the man-tiger population. So obviously you're fighting mythological creatures, using weapons, swords, magic. These are core issues. These are the main things. And yes, wizardry, teleportation, transcendental meditation in some ways. All this comes into your standard mystic package, things that parents might have issues with. So any of that, yeah. Oh, you also fight zombies too, by the way, at one point. And I really can't think of anything else. Oh, you ride a dolphin. Dolphins! If you are against dolphin riding, then yeah, you would hate this game, obviously. So, that's what we got. This is Crystalis, MoralGamer here. MoralGamer.com. Like, subscribe, comment, share, gameplay channel, channel links below. And don't forget, support link helps us out. And we hope to see you next time. And remember, dolphin safe tuna helps everyone out.